Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is RH Midwest Comics, and today we've got the 2024 edition of the top 10 Bronze Age horror comics. If you have followed my channel, you know last year I did another top 10, but it was pre-code horror. Well, we're gonna do that again, but it's gonna be next week. So this week I wanted to do my first ever top 10 Bronze Age horror comics, and we're gonna get right into it. But this was a tough one because there are so many great covers from the Bronze Age that it was very difficult for me just to do 10. So we're going to start off with some honorable mentions. We'll go through them quickly. I'll get into the top 10 and then stick around to the end, because as I'm signing off, I'm going to show you a collage of a bunch of other great covers that didn't make the list today, okay? So here we go. We're going to start off with some honorable mentions. The first one is Witching Hour #1. This is actually from 1969, so right at the end of the Silver Age. But because the Witching Hour primarily was part of the Bronze Age in the 70s, right? This kind of falls into that category. So this is a great Nick Cardy cover. Let's look at that with the witch up there on the top of the roof looking down into the city, and you know, there's a full moon in the background. It kind of looks like a castle in the background as well, and a guy at the bottom of the cover standing with a lantern in the moonlight. Just really, really cool. A lot of good detail on this. This is actually the first appearance of Mordred the witch, but there were a couple other witches as well, Mildred and Cynthia, that were introduced in this comic book, and they basically introduced the stories in each of the witching hours. So this is our first honorable mention. Great cover. Let's move on. Next honorable mention, House of Mystery #190. Another full moon, another witch cover. This is from 1971. Again, DC. Neil Adams cover. Just, you know, there's a lot going on here. Even though there's not a ton of detail in the background, it's just really cool. It kind of says it all, right? With the silhouette of the haunted house on the hill, and then again that full moon and the witch flying, you know, in front of the moon there, and then you see a witch in the foreground here sneaking up on the kids. Really cool cover. All right, told you we'll go through these ones pretty quickly. Next one, Wonder Woman 199. This classic bondage cover from Jeffrey Jones in 1972. You know, you see Diana there all chained up, and then the Axeman in the background just waiting. This book has bounced in and out of my top 10 over the years, and there are just so many other ones that have grown on me that, you know, this one, it dropped out, but I had to give it an honorable mention just because it's such a great book. All right, here we go. Next honorable mention. This is a fantastic cover, House of Mystery 205 from 1972, another DC book. It's a Jack Sparling cover. You don't hear about Jack Sparling very often, but he's got some nice covers out there, a couple really nice ones. But if you look at it, this is just Death rowing himself down the river in a coffin. He's got a vulture on his shoulder. There's a black cat riding along on the coffin. There's a full moon in the background. There's just so much detail to this, you know, haunted river that he's rowing down. The detail is what does it for me, right? These gothic bronze covers are just really special, and DC had a lot of that, which is why they're making up a big portion of our, not only our honorable mentions, but the top 10 as well. All right, here we go. We're almost done with the honorable mentions. House of Mystery 206. We were 205 on the last one, now 206. This is Tony DeZuniga, and he has done kind of his own take on a classic Scarecrow cover with a jack-o'-lantern head there, and you see the knife plunge right into the chest of the Scarecrow, and he's staring down the kids that are running through the pumpkin patch. Really nice cover. And as some of you know, I'm a sucker for Scarecrow covers. They're just very nostalgic for me. I didn't grow up with scarecrows or anything, but I really like those. I think I saw some scary movies, Scarecrow movies as a kid, and now I look for them on any kind of comic cover I can find. All right, great cover. Next one, Marvel enters the chat. Tomb of Dracula #1. This is the first appearance of Dracula in Marvel Comics from 1972. It's also a Neil Adams cover. Classic Dracula standing in the bog, holding the woman there. Great cover, classic cover that we all know and love. And then another Marvel, back-to-back Marvel, Frankenstein #1 from 1973. This is Mike Ploog cover. And again, another classic Bronze Age Marvel horror cover. And it's probably the most sought after one, and probably the one that moves the most. Marvel printed a lot more books in the 70s than DC did for these horror books. So they're more available. But this one seems to be asked for more than anything. At least in my experience, people are always asking me for Frankenstein #1. And really, the Frankenstein title in general is just really, really popular. So this one made the honorable mention. And then our last honorable mention, and this was a tough one because this, I had it in the top 10. I actually had it high in the top 10 for a while. And again, as time goes by, just other books, at least this year, are taking its place. Secrets of Haunted House #5 from 1975. A great Bernie Wrightson cover with the creature crawling in or maybe crawling out of the jack-o'-lantern. Great cover. Tough to find in grade because of all the black. And again, barely missing out in the top 10. So those are our honorable mentions. Without further ado, let's get into our top 10. Coming in at number 10 is Marvel Spotlight #2, which is the first appearance of our favorite werewolf, Werewolf by Night. This is from 1972. And some people don't know, this was a combined effort cover by Marie Severin and Neal Adams. And, you know, Marie doesn't have her name on a ton of Bronze Age horror, but she did some really, really good work. Really nice work. She did some pre-Hero Atlas horror books as well, you know, from the Silver Age. But so she combined her talents with Neal Adams. Great cover. Jack Russell is Werewolf by Night. And did anyone see the Werewolf by Night Disney Plus show from, was it a year ago? Was it 1 year or 2 years ago now? Regardless, that was one of the better Disney Plus Marvel shows that I've watched. So I think I'll go back and watch it again this year. But nonetheless, great way to start off the top 10. Marvel Spotlight #2 with the first appearance of Werewolf by Night. Moving on, number 9. Here is another Bernie Wrightson cover, and back to DC from 1973. This is House of Mystery #217, and this is the Haunted Tree cover. Just look at the detail on that tree. It's just menacing, and it's ensnarled that kid, and it looks like it's about to eat him. And we know he doesn't get eaten because these kids show up in probably 100 different DC Bronze Age covers. So just really, really great work by Bernie Wrightson, again from 1973. And the detail of the tree, and then the background, and then the bog, the murky swamp that they're in. Really, really well done. All right, moving on to number 8. So this is kind of a dark horse in the race. This is Ghost Manor, #23 from Charlton in 1975. I've talked about this book before. You've probably seen it in some of my other videos. This is a Tom Sutton cover who has done some great work. And if you really look at this thing, this is an old man, zombie type of creature sitting in a chair. A lot of really, really great detail on the face and the teeth. And then even more impressive to me is that teddy bear sitting in his lap. Look how evil that thing looks with its one eye all stitched up, I'm pretty sure. And then the fangs on that thing, and it's got, you know, claws on its feet and its hands. Just what a great cover. And I debated putting this one up pretty high on the list, but it landed at number 8. Nonetheless, it made the top 10. Charlton makes the list. And a great cover again by Tom Sutton. Here we go, moving on, number 7. House of Secrets, #123 from 1974. The classic Frank Robbins cover with the melting face on the ice cream cone. Really nice purple cover. Hard to find in nice grade. And if you do find it, it's hard to find at a good price. Maybe that's what I should say. It's a pricey book. and just really, really well done. And you know, the skeleton hand holding the ice cream cone is a nice touch as well. So great job by Frank Robbins. That's number 7. Let's move into number 6. Fantastic cover here. These are all fantastic. I keep saying that, but every time I look at them again, I just get impressed over and over. Sinister House of Secret Love, number 1 from 1971. This is a Victor Kalin cover. Victor's name does not come up very often in terms of Bronze Age horror, and I should do some research on this to see what else he's done, because this is the only one notable in my mind that I'm aware of. But it's amazing. You talk about a true gray tone cover, a true Gothic bronze cover. This is it, with that haunted castle in the background. The lady running down the bridge here, and even if you look backwards on that castle in the door opening, well, there's someone following her, but right above that on the door opening, there's some evil face that's drawn on. The detail for me is what does it, and then the full moon in the background. Just like I'm a sucker for scarecrow covers, I'm a sucker for full moon covers as well. So Victor Kalin, great cover. You could argue this thing could be the best cover ever made. This wasn't on my radar, I'd say about a year ago, but it is one of my favorites now going forward. And who knows, next year it could be even higher on my list. All right, so that is the bottom 5. Let's now get into the top 5 of our top 10. Coming in at number 5 is another Neal Adams cover. This is Phantom Stranger number 14 from 1971. And this is the prototype for Swamp Thing. And you see Phantom Stranger in the background as well. They're all in white. But look how ominous and menacing Swamp Thing, the specter of the stalking swamp, I guess is what they call it, since the words are right there on the cover. Just a huge, ominous figure with those claws on his hand and all the swamp crud dripping off of him. Really, really nice detail. The guy is scared out of his you-know-what, and the girl has no idea what's going on. So really, really well done by Neal Adams. Great cover, coming in at number 5. All right, number 4. The book that pretty much started it all for DC Bronze Age horror, even though it was technically the Silver Age in 1968. House of Mystery number 174. And we know House of Mystery went all the way into the 70s. Did it go up to 1980? I don't remember, but it was for a good portion of the 70s, which is why we're still counting this, even though it was at the end of the Silver Age. We're counting this as a Bronze Age horror book because it started it all. Again, House of Mystery 174. Now this, a lot of people think this cover was done by Neal Adams. CGC gives credit to Joe Orlando and George Rousseau. I'm not sure if it's Rousseau or Rousseaus because it ends in an S. I just don't know if the S is silent. But this is, again, really thought of as the first of the book that really led DC into the Bronze Age horror phase. So great cover there with, you know, the creature or whatever sticking his hand out and beckoning those kids again to enter the House of Mystery. And Brave and the Bold had an homage cover to this as well. I don't remember the number. I'll throw it up on the screen here. Great cover. The one that started it all at number 4. House of Mystery number 174. Moving on to number 3. Arguably the best Bronze Age horror cover out there. A Bernie Wrightson cover from 1971. DC Super Spectacular number 4. This is a 100-page book, a monster of a book. Also a Weird Mystery Tales cover, but the actual title of the book is the Super Spectacular number 4. So Bernie Wrightson also appears in the story, in this comic, but just that creature crushing whatever person that they're sitting on there. Really, really nice cover. Hard to find in high grade because of all, you know, the black color on it. All right, so great entry at number 3 by Mr. Bernie Wrightson. All right, 2 more to go. Our second best Bronze Age horror cover is none other than Batman 227 from 1970. Another Neal Adams cover, and this, as we all know, is an homage to the cover of Detective Comics number 31, which is a book that's almost impossible to find, and when it does come up for auction, it demands a hefty price. As does this book now, right? Because it's almost impossible to get the original, so a lot of people are going for Batman 227, and the price continues to rise on this book. Great Bronze Age cover. You know, the shadow of Batman in the background there. Another full moon cover, of course. And Neal Adams just did a great job here. All right. And coming in at number 1, I'm sure you can probably guess what it is since I haven't mentioned it yet. This is House of Secrets 92, the first actual appearance of Swamp Thing. A beautiful Bernie Wrightson cover from 1970, and you see the details here with the girl sitting at her nightstand brushing her hair, all the details of little things she has on her nightstand as well. And then coming in the background, you see Swamp Thing entering the room, and of course you see a full moon up in the sky. Just really nice gray tone cover, gothic bronze, whatever term you want to use, the blacks and the purples and the greens. Just an amazing cover, and that rounds it out. Bernie Wrightson finishing up our top 10 Bronze Age horror comics for 2024. Great list. Again, let me know what I may have missed, what books you guys would have put in your top 10 that I didn't have in. I'd love to hear what they are. And as we exit the video here, I'm going to show you a bunch of other covers that didn't make the list. So I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy watching these other books that I show here. And join me next week when we do the top 10 pre-code horror books. And one last note, if you follow me on Instagram, or even if you don't, join us on October 26th. We're going to have our annual horror claim sale. Every single book is going to be horror. It's going to be Bronze Age, Silver Age, Golden Age books, pre-code horror, pre-hero books, you name it. We're probably going to have it. It's going to be hours of fun. People who have joined it the past couple years can attest to that. Always a lot of fun. Instagram, same name, RH Midwest Comics. Go find us there. Live sales are a lot of fun on Instagram if you have never been a part of them. We hope you can join us. Until next time, have a great night.